Hello everyone, welcome back to another update video. I'm DTM as always, and we have with us the refines and remixes for May 2023. Apologize for my voice, I'm still recovering from being sick yesterday, and it is currently midnight, so yeah, I'm a bit tired, but you know, I'm super excited for this batch, obviously, and yeah, super excited to delve into them. And as always, if you like the content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but it truly does help out the channel a lot, and I really do appreciate all the constant support. Now, let us begin with, obviously, the unit I was anticipating the most, and that is Legendary Edelgard. So, Legendary Edelgard's new base effect is granting attack +3. If unit is not adjacent to an ally, or if foe initiates combat, inflicts attack defense -6 on foe. Foe cannot make a follow-up attack, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30% during combat. Now, if you compare this to the original one, you basically gain the extra damage reduction for that 30%, which does help her survive if she's not able to one-shot. And since with the remix, she does have Raging Storm 2 now. It allows her to double a bit more consistently, so being able to survive the foe's first attack a bit better is obviously really nice. But other than that, the base effect just has that one addition. The refined effect is as follows. At start of combat, if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75%, or unit is not adjacent to an ally, inflicts attack defense -5 on foe, deals damage equals to 15% of unit's attack, and grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat. So, obviously, the big elephant in the room is that there is no slaying, which does make it so that if you want to be able to consistently proc Gale Force, you'll need one additional effect that can reduce the cooldown by at least 1, whether that be from Quicken Pulse, Asker, Dual Asker, Valoria, and yeah, not having slaying is really sad. However, having the special cooldown charge +1 is actually really good, since it frees Edelgard from having to run Heavy Blade and something like that. And also makes the special cooldown charge +1 very consistent, because you don't need to meet attack checks anymore, which is really getting a lot harder these days with attacks going through the roof. And obviously this also helps boost her own attack with both the A and the seal if you can get external cooldown support, which just increases the true damage. So obviously, we also have to talk about Raging Storm 2, which I believe I talked about before in the FEH channel, but it's like, if unit initiates combat, grant another action to unit. If unit is not adjacent to an ally after combat, at start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, or unit's not adjacent to an ally, inflicts attack defense -5 on foe, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat, and also if foe uses Dragonstone or Beast damage, neutralizes effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. So all this combined, she basically gets -16 to attack and defense, which is a pretty big stat swing. That, in combination with the guaranteed follow-up, while there are a lot of armors and I guess dragons and beasts with like Hardy Fighter, so you don't really get the guaranteed follow-up attack, it's still there. I still think that there are enough uses for that, especially in something like Ether Raids, where that can come in handy. So overall, I do think Legendary Edelgard is a pretty solid Gale Forcer, especially with these changes. It allows her to run things like Double Fury, which is obviously really nice, and allows you to consistently get below those 50% HP thresholds a lot more consistently. And yeah, the only downside I think to this that I would have really liked to have is the lack of slaying, because that obviously requires you to have external cooldown support in something like Asker or something like that. Now in Arena, one of the biggest problems of using her in Arena is that most of the skills you would want to use on her do not max score, right? This weapon Refine does not have any movement skills, so you have to run something like either Assault Troop or Armored Stride, which obviously does not score 300 SP. If you opt to run Quicken Pulse, you also have a scoring loss since it's not 240 SP. And so in Arena, you will take a scoring hit if you are trying to go for an optimal build. Like, ideally, if you are going for max scoring, you have like a supporting armor that can run something like Armor March Seal, which will allow her to get the extra movement, which obviously is really nice. Obviously, Dual Asker is a hero that scores well and can synergize really well with that, but still, you'd prefer not to have that. So overall, I think this is more of a unit for Aetherates than Arena, although in Arena, I think it's a lot more consistent to get those doubles. And that's the thing, right? If you can at least guarantee one double in the first 2 combats you take, that basically means that you proc Gale Force for the 3rd combat, and therefore the lack of slaying doesn't really bother you that much. So it really depends on her being able to double at least once, and not like either not double due to like NFU, or just one-shot the opponent. And so, yeah, there's going to need to be a lot of workarounds around that. But again, in Arena, I think that would probably be easier. And let's be real, no one really cares about Arena anyways. It's all about Aetherates. And in Aetherates, at least we have Asker, Valoria, Raphael, those sort of units. So again, she will definitely need like outside support, but that if you can get that, she will be a pretty strong Gale Force option. Alright, next we have is Lif's weapon, Sockvebecker. I hope I pronounced that right. The base effect is as follows. If unit is within 4 spaces of an ally, grants all stats plus 6 to unit, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat, but after combat, if unit attack deals 20 damage to nearest ally, and also if unit special is ready or unit special triggered before during combat, deals plus 5 damage, and when unit deals damage to foe, restores 7 HP to unit during combat. So, compared to his original weapon, yeah, it goes from all stats plus 4 to all stats plus 6, 3 spaces to 4 spaces. The damage, self-damage is still there, but you also get plus 5 damage and the healing, which is really nice. The Refine effect is accelerate special's trigger. At start of turn 1, grant special cooldown count -2 to unit. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants all stats plus 4 to unit during combat. And reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%. So that's all well and good. He also had the Refine effect Deadly Balance. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, or if penalty is active on unit, inflicts attack speed defense -5 on foe, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack, and grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per foe's attack. And also, if special triggers, neutralizes reduces damage by X%. If special triggers before or during combat, grants special cooldown count -2 to unit after combat. So it's very clear from all of that that Lif is trying to like special spam and is really dependent on that special being procced. Obviously, with all of that special help, that would be able to do it very consistently, especially with the slaying and the extra damage and healing that comes when the special is ready or if it's triggered. That's obviously really nice. The only problem with Lif is that he's an Anima mythic. I don't think this is good for Anima mythics. Because, like, realistically, what is he going to do with that on Aetherate's defense? Like, sure, Anima defenses are kind of in a sad state right now, but Lif is not helping matters. There's really only, like, 2, maybe 3 Anima mythics that you would ever consider using, like Mirabilis, Arvel, and sometimes Fomortis. And Lif just does not cut it. Like, I'm completely sorry, but even with all of that, Lif is a unit that is good in like, pretty good in like all the modes besides the modes he's designed for. So, yeah. Like, in Chaos Season, I think this could be a very cool Omni tank, but like, I don't think you'll use this in Summoner's Duels or Arena. And in Aetherate's defense, the mode you want to use him in, he's just not good there. I mean, obviously with everything like that, he's still a decent unit, and in Chaos Season he can have some value. But honestly, I think this is a pretty mediocre Refine despite everything that they gave him. Anyways, next up we have is Dual Arm. base effect is grants speed +3 at start of combat if bonus is active on unit, or if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%. Grants all stats +4 to unit. Grants bonus to unit's attack speed during combat equal to 25% of foe's defense at start of combat. And inflicts penalty on foe's attack defense during combat equal to 25% of foe's res at the start of combat. So if we compare this to his base effect, now it does attack and speed and foe's attack and defense. And obviously the condition is a lot more lenient. It's HP greater than or equal to 25%, and of course the bonus is still there. So overall, also like I think the alt stats +4 is new too. So those are very nice. The Refine effect is if unit initiates combat or is within 2 space of an ally, grants all stats +4 to unit, neutralizes foe's bonuses, and neutralizes effects that grant special cooldown charge +X to foe, or inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. So here we have another alt stats +4, the Dolal effect, and full tempo, which is obviously really nice. The biggest problem I have with this is that as an infantry axe, I don't think this really cuts it in today's meta. Like, where are you actually going to use Dual Alm? Are you going to use him in Arena? He doesn't really score well anymore. Are you going to use him in Ether Raids as like an Omni tank? I don't think he'll be a good Omni tank, honestly. Like, there's no damage reduction. The tempo is nice, but I'd much prefer something like Guard, DR, healing even. And sure, like the reductions in the foe's defenses and attack and the bonuses to your unit's attack and speed is really nice. But I don't think it cuts it in today's meta, at least in Ether Raids. And in Summoner's Duels, you're not going to really use this either. So, like I mentioned with Lif, pretty mediocre Refine, personally. I'm not the highest on this one, either. Alright, next we have is Cormag, and Cormag has a very interesting Refine. Accelerate special trigger if unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants all stats +4 to unit during combat, and also if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at start of combat, unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants all stats +4 to unit, neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 15% of unit's defense during combat, excluding AoEs. So yeah, he has flat damage reduction, which is obviously really nice. Now it's only 15%, but like that, I think, and combined with something like Guard Bearing 4, will make him like an actually super powerful tank. You can also like do support with Guidance 4 and a C, which does have some value in something like Summoner's Duels. But overall, this is a pretty good Refine for a Grail unit, I have to say. Now, will it be meta? Time will tell. But I do think this is very solid, right? Like, you have Slaying, guaranteed follow-up attack, I guess is okay. Honestly, I'd prefer a deny follow-up attack for Cormag, just based on the type of unit he's going to be, since he's generally going to be more of a tank unit. And yeah, you got +8 to all stats. You neutralize Guard. Personally, again, like, I'd rather him have Guard to begin with, since I think the best way to use him is as a tank. And honestly, no Guard doesn't really do much for him. But like, the thing that actually will determine whether or not like he will stand out will be that 50% damage reduction. If you can combine that with like Guard Bearing 4 and Guidance 4, I think that will be a very strong unit, a very solid unit that can do really well. Now, I don't think he'll be like that insane or that amazing. Like, it could be the Spring Maria all over again, when like literally everyone freaked out about her, even though she wasn't really that big of a deal. But Cormag will definitely be very tanky. The question is, like, does he survive against AoE nukes? And that's a big question, because the damage reduction you get from this does not apply to AoEs. And so if it turns out that you can easily one-shot Cormag with an AoE, then he doesn't become as good, right? Like, Sonya's with like literally 84 plus attack will be able to bring Cormag down to 1 HP. And then as long as you do damage, you should be able to take out Cormag. Or if you just have like Katria with like Veronica, I could see that doing well. But yeah, overall Cormag is looking to be very solid. It remains to be seen how tanky he can actually be though. If he is, I think that will be a very good unit and definitely usable in Summoners Duels. But if not, then it'll just be like Spring Maria. Alright, next up we have is Valbar. And now Valbar has an interesting refine. If units within 3 spaces of an ally grants attack defense +5 to unit during combat. And also if foe initiates combat, reduces damage from foes' follow-up attacks by 60%. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants attack defense +5 to unit, grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat, and restores 7 HP to unit after combat. I guess this is nice. I'm not that high on it though. Like, I don't think this is really that good for an armor these days. Like, sure, 60% of foes' follow-up attacks is cool and all, but like, we've had units with 80% or like 75%. I don't think 60 is really that great. I guess if you combine it with something like Hardy Fighter Aegis, that could, or Hardy Fighter Sacred Cow, that could work. But like, there are like, I would say that skill-based damage reduction on the follow-up attacks is a lot more easy to overcome than like, you know, just like damage reduction on like the first or second hits. That's just me though. Because like, again, like Veronica exists and Veronica would completely slaughter this. So yeah, I'm not exactly the highest. I don't think it gives him enough bulk, especially on the res department. And doesn't have like anything else to help with his survivability besides the 7 HP. So yeah, overall, not really the highest on this one. Alright, next up we have is Eyvel with Free Blade's Edge. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at start of combat, grants all stats +4 to unit and inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat, and reduces damage from attacks during combat and AoEs by 30%. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants all stats +4, deals damage equals to 50% of unit's defense during combat, including when dealing damage with a special triggered before combat, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat. So obviously this is all really nice. Having the guard, having all stats +4, having the 30% damage reduction just flat out. You don't have to meet like any stat checks for that is really good. The true damage, of course, is really nice. But I think her biggest problem is the fact that her speed is not exactly the highest these days. And so if you're going to become like a spurn tank or a speed tank, that is a very difficult hill to climb. Like, obviously the +8 to speed will definitely help. But I don't think it'll be as good. Now you can run something like Close Call 4 and just double down on that damage reduction, but then you also like come in with the problem of like pre-charge specials from like Deadeye or Lethality or things like that. And honestly, I think her biggest problem is like, where would you actually use this? You're not going to use this in Arena since she doesn't score that well. Are you going to use her in Ether Raids offense, like as an Omni tank? This is similar to like Dual Alm. Like, I don't think she cuts it to be a good Omni tank in Ether Raids, or at least a recommended one. Maybe in Anima season or Astra season that could work because everything in Astra season works. But yeah, I'm not exactly the highest on this. And honestly, I think I'm just like really sick of God Swords. This is like another God Sword, but like not even to that level. And like, if Felix can't make an impact on meta, I don't think Eyvel will either. So yeah, honestly, pretty mediocre Refine, but still pretty good upgrades for Eyvel fans. So I think they should enjoy this pretty well. And yeah, last but certainly not least, or maybe least, we have Ewan with Pupil's Tome. If unit initiates combat or foe's range equals to 2, grants all stats +4 to unit, reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%, and neutralizes units' penalties to attack res during combat. If units is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants all stats +4 to unit, inflicts penalty on foes, attack res equals 20% of unit's res at start of combat, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, as a mage nuke, I don't think this is really that great. Like, it's functional, you can definitely make it work, but like, the 30% damage reduction, I guess, is nice. Neutralizing your own penalty is nice, although that precludes you being able to run something like Unity. And it's only to attack and res, it's not also to speed, which is really interesting. Like, Ewan theoretically could be speed stacked, but I guess not. And like, Ewan's stat line is like really awkward and like, it's not exactly optimized either. So I don't think this weapon really helps with that. Now, the inflicting penalty on foes attack and res by 20% of units res at the start of combat is pretty good, right? Because like 20% of your res is probably going to be like 10, maybe 15. So having that stat infliction will be very powerful. But like, as a mage nuke, I'm just not that high on it, honestly. Again, I'll say it's pretty mediocre. And honestly, that's the entire theme of this Refine batch. Pretty mediocre to solid. I don't think there are any units here that have that wow factor. And yeah. I'm not exactly the highest on any of these units, which is a shame because obviously there are some in this batch that I was really looking forward to, especially Legendary Edelgard. But how exactly would I rank them? Well, I have this tier list right here, ranging from S being Brave Hector to E being Effie, and yeah, as you can see from this batch, I consider them to be very mediocre. I do consider Legendary Edelgard with the remix and refined and everything, and considering with the rest of the units here, is overall the best of this batch. Not necessarily because she had the biggest upgrade. Well, actually she did, because like having special acceleration in her weapon is really huge. Again, the lack of slaying really hurts, but if she doubles or if she has external cooldown support, that can be mitigated. It's just an additional restriction you have to consider. Now, I know some people do not like the solo condition. Personally, I never had a problem with solo conditions for Legendary Edelgard. Like, the whole point of Gale Force is to go up and take out the units, so generally you're solo anyways. And honestly, like, I don't know why all of a sudden that is becoming an issue, but at the very least, they do make it a bit more lenient, especially with the foe's HP equals 75% initiation here, which obviously is more lenient and generally very, very doable. So yeah, I still consider Legendary Edelgard to be a very good unit. It's just that in Arena, you need to sacrifice scoring in order to have like the movement from like Assault Troop or Armor Stride, and I guess from like Quick Impulse or something like that. Again, the biggest problem with Legendary Edelgard in Arena is the additional restrictions that you have to consider, which is why she's in B. Now, depending on how it goes, she could be an A, but that's maybe just copium. So, B for now. Next up is Cormag. Again, it really depends on how well he does as a tank, but he does have a promising start. And with like Guard Bearing 4 and Guidance 4, I could definitely see him being usable in something like SD. Maybe not in like other modes, but you know, being usable in SD is pretty good. Again, it really depends, and I don't think he'll be like that amazing, just usable. So B. And then the rest I gave C, because honestly, I think they're all mediocre. Like, Lif would be good if he's not an Anima Mythic. Like, it's actually so tragic. Eyvel, like, a lesser version of Godsword number 776. Dual Alm, I don't think is particularly that great. Ewan and Valbar, again, I don't think are great either. Honestly, I might put Ewan and Valbar into D, but for now, I'll put them into C. But yeah. Of course, that is not all that we have. We also have the stats. This one was from the tips video that Faye put out. And yeah, as we can see, for Chrom, Maria, Byleth and Anakos, very offensive stat lines. Like, very, very high on attack and speed, honestly. Now, obviously, Anakos being armor, he's pretty high on all stats, but definitely focusing on being a speedy armor over like other armors. So yeah, we also have the art from the, I guess, just the announcements about Linus, the GHB unit, and he looks really sick. Like, look at this. This is some really great art. Not a big fan of like the purple though. Like, I don't think it's really that interesting. Like, I liked it when like Byleth had the green. I thought that was really cool. Alright. But yeah, overall, I have to say this Refine batch was honestly pretty mediocre. I don't think any particular unit really stood out or will be like particularly meta or anything like that. Still though, like there were some solid upgrades, and overall, like, I guess this is what to expect from Refines, I guess. I don't know. Again, like, Legendary Edelgard's lack of slaying is a bit of a downside, forcing you to have like additional cooldown support, but having this special acceleration is really good. So honestly, it remains to be seen. I need to actually like do a Gale Force run with her in like this upcoming Chaos season. But yeah. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed my quick analysis this midnight. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but truly does help out the channel a lot, and I really do appreciate all the constant support. Let me know down in the comments how your Ether Raids runs. I mean, not, oh my goodness. I'm so tired. It is like 1 o'clock right now. Oh my gosh. Let me know down in the comments which Refine is your favorite from this batch. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time. Bye everyone.